It's time for the Unnamed SWTOR Podcast, a podcast so good it doesn't need a name. So without any further ado, here's your host, JD. Take it away, Johnny.
Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 16 of the Unnamed SWTOR Podcast. I'm your host, JD, aka Gaddick Teague, and today's episode, it's all expansion all the time. That's right, we're talking what we could see in a future expansion from Star Wars The Old Republic. Well, nothing has been officially released, it's definitely been teased at. Lots of different theories are flying all around, and that's right, we're talking about the super secret space project yet again. I think this may be the fourth episode in a row that we're discussing space. And why wouldn't you want to talk about space right now? It's hot, it's on everyone's mind, we got awesome theories out there, some data mine info, and plenty of stuff to talk about. So that's what we're going to dive right into today. With all that being said, let's force leap right in.
Red 2, I've got a topic coming in hot, requesting clearance to engage.
Lock S foils and attack positions. You are cleared to discuss.
So let's start off talking space, because that's the thing that's really on everyone's mind. A lot of theories are flying around on the interwebs right now. Is space going to be an expansion, or is it going to be a patch? Or how are they going to implement it? Are you going to have to pay for it? Is it going to be free for subscribers? How are they going to get space into the game? And this was really spurred on by the venerable Werit, who wrote a nice article yesterday, as of writing this on the 21st, about his thoughts on SWTOR Space patch or expansion. Werit is probably the A to Mr. SWTOR Miners 1. They're both great data miners. They have great information on their sites. WeritsBlog.com is where you can go to see all Werit's stuff. He dumps tons of data onto the scene as soon as it's available. Does a great job. So thanks, Werit, for all your good work. And let's talk about your opinions here. So in Werit's opinion, it seems to lean towards a patch rather than expansion. And I've been back and forth on this a bunch of times, and I don't know what they're going to do with it. I think they can go either way. My initial reaction, obviously, like many people, was expansion. Then I kind of swung back and thought, hey, maybe this could be a patch. And now I've kind of swung back to the other side and thinking this is paid for expansion again. I just don't know what to make of it. So let's get all the cards on the table and we can see what we can make of it. So Werit has a couple points that make him think patch. So first of all, BioWare has released a teaser. And they've done this for every patch so far. There is a teaser trailer for 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. There are ones for the older ones, 1.7 I think was the last 1-point patch, 1.6, 1.5. They've released teasers for every patch, so it would make sense that they would have a teaser for this patch. Rise of the Hutt Cartel, on the other hand, that was just basically stealth announced on the website. All of a sudden there was a Rise of the Hutt Cartel website with the pre-orders available straight away. No lead up, nothing teasing, which is just out there and everyone could go sign up for it. So there's a definite difference in how space has been handled versus how Rise of the Hutt Cartel was handled. So there's a point for patch right there. Second up, we have no idea what patch 2.5 is going to be. Usually at this point we'd have some inclination as to what it is, and the only real thing, concrete evidence given by BioWare of something that is being worked on, a major addition to the game, is the super secret space project. If we were going to see some other different kind of PvP patch, maybe that we get a new map, a new Huttball map. That is the other thing that's been teased at, is the new Huttball map. It doesn't look like that's going to make it in 2.4, since they've finally taken down the PTS. So 2.5 could be the Huttball map, but I'm guessing they want to do more. Just one map, while... Have they done it? No, they haven't done just one map. When they did... No, Ancient Hypergates was his own thing, and it came with HK51, so... Maybe they could do Huttball map plus something else small, maybe a new event, the Rackle event maybe. That's another thing that we know, air quotes. Can't see me doing the air quotes here. Look like Dr. Evil. The Rackle event could be coming with a Huttball map, so that could be patch 2.5. So this split down the middle here. I'm going to say point towards patch, but I think it's 50-50. It could be 2.5, or 2.5 could be Huttwell map plus Rakghoul event. Even though we haven't seen any new data for the Rakghoul event since it was initially basically data mined, but that's the kind of thing where I think BioWare was upset that the Rakghoul event leaked out there when they got all that community backlash from the community cantina of players saying, well, you said that the Rakghouls would never come back, and what the hell, we know they're coming back. We have this data mined info, and they kind of backpedaled a little bit. I think they got upset about that, so they didn't want to dump more information on the patch. They'll probably do it in one big patch, which I could see happening. So I'm going to say point towards patch, like I said, but we'll see what happens with that. Also, what Werit has said is that as cool as the new space system is shaping up to be, I don't think it's big enough to bill as an expansion. It could turn out to be a single war zone, at least to start with. There would be no new story content, no level cap adjustment. He wrote it right. I just can't read. For some reason, I don't know why. I don't know if anybody else gets this. Why is it whenever you're reading to yourself, it's fine, you just read, you understand the information. But whenever you're called on, like in class, to read out loud to someone, or anywhere, wherever you're reading out loud to someone, you ever get the thoughts of, I'm reading, I can't believe I'm reading these words so fast. These words are coming out of I'm stumbling over my words, I don't know what I'm saying. Is that just me? Am I dumb here? I don't know. Let me know if you do that too. Anyway, there would be no new story content or level cap adjustments. Those are generally associated with expansions. So he does have a point there. So far, we have only seen the one possible war zone be released with some different companions, some other kind of new ships models that you can fly around in, some talent trees and abilities. But really, is that an expansion? I personally think it could be, but I haven't played it. And if it is just that one war zone, that's not really an expansion level of content. Could there be story? Yeah, I guess there could be. We haven't data mined anything to that end, but I guess it's possible. I think that space could have a cool story around it. Like I said, I think the Shadow looks to be shaping up to be the new bad guy, so you can put some story around that. Maybe the war zone is based around a new operation with the Shadow on some kind of spaceport or something like that. Kind of how the Hypergates was linked to Terraform Beyond. I think that's a possibility. But is this really going to constitute a full-on hardcore expansion? I don't know. It's hard to see. That could go either way, but we'll say point to a patch there. And then he does say that the one big drawback to this opinion, his major con to the opinion that it will be a patch, is that Rise of the Hutt Cartel has been made free for subscribers. So that seems to lead that a new expansion may be coming and they could charge for that. So in BioWare's mind, it's why have players have to pay for multiple different expansions when you can just make one free and then make them pay for the next expansion. I think that's a solid business model for all the whiners out there. I don't understand what your problem is, whatever. But yeah, I could see that point towards expansion there. So we have 3 for patch and 1 for expansion. I think this blog by Werit kind of swinging me back from expansion to patch. Who knows? I think it would be a great publicity stunt from BioWare if they were to release this space as a patch. I know I could see the forum goers and the massively posts about how this should have been in-game to begin with, so it's ridiculous. How can you make us pay for what should have been there if they did release it as a paid-for expansion? But I really don't know at this point. I'm torn. I'm so torn. I'm like dead set in the middle now. And I think either way, it's fine. I think this is one of those rare situations where they're not damned if they do and they're not damned if they don't. They can charge for it and make it an expansion level as long as it's expansion level quality and amount of content. and price right. I mean, if it isn't as big as Rise of the Hutt Cartel, say it doesn't have the big story, it doesn't have a raid or operation or PvP changes with it, although we do know 2.5 will have class changes because they've said that. If it doesn't have those things, what if they made it a $5 expansion for subscribers and a $10 expansion for non-subscribers, or a $15 expansion for non-subscribers? I mean, I could see them doing that too. They don't. Who says that every expansion has to be the same price? No one. It's totally up to them. And that's one of the powers that they have to really make the most money. They have to figure out at what point can we sell this that will sell X number of copies at Y price and make Z profit, and where can we maximize that profit? So they could do a lot of different things with this, I think. I think releasing it as a free expansion would be really nice. A gift to subscribers, especially if it's free for subscribers. I could see them going that route too, just like Rise of the Hutt Cartel. Maybe future expansions will all be free for subscribers, and they made Rise of the Hutt Cartel free for subscribers because that's going to be their design philosophy going forward. Wouldn't that be cool? Not saying it has to be, but I would like that. I mean, I've been a subscriber since day one of pre-launch. I've been in there, got up at 5 o'clock that morning, made myself a cup of coffee, and got my gunslinger going. So if they reward me with a super secret space project free of charge, I would be ecstatic, man. Be so happy. Now, kind of continuing on this point is a great email I got from Michael. It's kind of been sitting in my inbox for a while, Michael, so I'm sorry if you've kind of felt left out there. I apologize for that, but I'm going to read you his email here. Thanks for all the great casts so far. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Michael. One of the issues mentioned briefly in today's cast, this is referring to episode 13, I believe, is exactly how BioWare plans to get paid for the Super Secret Space Project. I think most people on the interwebs are assuming a paid digital expansion, which seems like the most logical option at first, but breaks down when combined with SWTOR's current free-to-play model. This is especially the case with the Super Secret Space Project because no one needs an extra space game to advance their characters, so the pay barrier would only limit the influx of people who might have otherwise tried the expansion and found that they really liked it. I'm pretty sure you mentioned this in the cast as well, but everyone should have a crack at the Super Secret Space Project. But even if they set this Super Secret Space Project up as free-to-play, the question remains on how to give subscribers their money's worth. I think these questions will be an ongoing issue for the Super Secret Space Project moving forward, and deserve some more analysis by the fans when the time is right. Data mining has established that it's going to be a pretty awesome addition to the game. Now that we've established that, how BioWare plans to go about distributing the product of theirs has huge potential to win players and goodwill from the community. Thanks for hearing out my rant. Keep up the good work. Man, you hit the nail dead center on the head. Bam, bam, bam. I think you have brought up some great points there. I think the Super Secret Space Project being free to play is a great way to win players and goodwill back. I completely agree with that. Good point. The Super Secret Space Project is something that no one needs because it doesn't advance their character directly. Agreed. So the pay barrier would only limit the influx of people who might have otherwise tried the expansion and found that they really liked it. And I think this is a brilliant point here, Michael. I think this is a major thing that they have to think about here, is that there are the MMO players out there who will say, I'm not going to get new gear out of this, I'm not going to look cooler on my speeder, I'm only getting a space game, so why the hell should I pay for it? It's one thing if you're going to pack it in with your basic expansion fodder, your PvP, your operations, all that other stuff. That's one thing, and then this is just a side story, kind of like Mists of Pandaria with the pet battle system. I could guarantee you that if they released the pet battle system on its own for, say, $10, not even half the number of people who bought Mr. Pandaria would play it. But now that they have played Mr. Pandaria, I've heard a lot of good things about the pet battle system because people got in there, they tried it, and they liked it. And I think this is something that BioWare could do, is that you release this free for everyone so anyone can get in there and figure out if they like it. And if they like it, they'll tell their friends about it, and they'll be like, hey, this game just added this new thing, it's free to play, so you don't have to pay anything, just come in and play with me for a little while. Try out this new Space War Zone, it's awesome. And that just spreads like wildfire. It's great making goodwill, like you said, for the community. People feel like they're getting more for their money, more bang for their buck on that free-to-play player. They're happy, they're buying cartel coins, there's all sorts of things. Now, you also bring up the great point of, in the free-to-play model, if you do release this for free, how do you get paid for it? And I think the answer to that question is difficult. If they do release it for free-to-play, they're not going to want to just get your subscriber money. It would be awesome if they did, but I don't think that's how they'd want to do it. It's going to be paired with cartel market purchases. I can guarantee you that. I will put $100, I will put 10,000 cartel coins down. How much is 10,000? 10,000 cartel coins, like $100, right? Yeah. Right? Yeah. I'll put 10,000 cartel coins down, saying that there will be cartel market purchases associated with the super secret space project. And what those are could be the best part about the space project, or also the worst part. If they go the route of selling you the space weapons again, just like they did before, I think they've learned their lesson. I hope they've learned their lesson, but who knows if they have learned their lesson. They could do that and make it total buy power, buy the best weapons, buy the best upgrades, buy the best companions, buy skill points, things like that, and say, well, you're not directly influencing your character, so it's not really buying power, it's not pay to win, you're just doing it for the side game, so it doesn't really matter. Who cares? Could go that way. That would be very negatively received. Would people pay money for it? I bet your ass they will. But I don't think that's a good way of doing it. The way I could see doing it, as I've said in the past, is the League of Legends model, which has got to be the single most successful free-to-play model out there. Find me a game that has a better free-to-play model than League of Legends. Maybe Dota. I haven't played enough Dota to really get their free-to-play system fully. You get all the characters, right? So maybe they have a better system, but I bet League of Legends makes more money. I don't actually know that. I'm kind of talking out of my ass there, but League of Legends, sell you skins. Great idea. People love skins. They will buy to make their stuff look cool. Make a leopard print B-Wing. Make a black X-Wing. Make a white TIE fighter. I don't know. Anything you can think of to make your ships look cool. Make special emote packs, special sound packs. Make your X-Wing sound like the fighters from Episode 4. Make them sound like the Naboo fighters from Episode 1. Do they sound the same? Who knows? I don't know. Call them different things. Whatever. Make them sound like Battlestar Galactica for all I know. I don't know. Just sell all this crazy stuff for players' enjoyment that is solely cosmetic, and people will buy them. And that's what I would do to get paid if they release it free, which I really hope they are. And I've got myself back, just working myself up here to the free-to-play swing on the pendulum. I think it's going to be free-to-play, and that's my final verdict right now. I'll change my mind in 5 minutes, but I think it's going to be free-to-play. Patch 2.5 will be... No, patch 2.6 will be space. Patch 2.5 will be Hutball map, and we will see the... what was it? The Rackle event. Hutball map, Rackle event 2.5. 2.6 will be space. Banging gavels. Whatever. Alright, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Alright, and after the break, we will talk more expansion talk, but not space related. I've asked you, the listener, to give me your ideas what you'd like to see in a full-on expansion, and the next full-on expansion. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to talk about my opinions on what I'd like to see in the expansion. So stick around. So now that we've gotten the space talk out of the way, let's move on to other things that I'd like to see in an expansion, or, well, now that we've kind of decided that I don't think that space will be an expansion, though it could be, let's talk about what I think could and would be nice to have in an expansion. So first, let's define what exactly I think an MMO expansion is. Well, I think MMO expansions need to have a combination of new PvE new PvP, and one other major either system change, new system, or in most cases level cap. So most of the time expansions and MMOs are associated with level cap increases, and then you also get your new endgame PvP and PvE at the end. Well, I don't necessarily think that the level increase is necessary to have a good, meaningful MMO expansion. I think level increases are nice. They are easy to understand. They're simple for players to see their progression as they go up. It's not just gear, it's actual numbers going up. It's not just stats. So that's a nice way to really put players into a new mindset, thinking about the expansion as something new, something fresh. But I don't necessarily think that's a required portion of expansion. I do think there needs to be a combination of three things, though, not all three, of three things coming together. A normal patch could have new endgame PvP, a normal patch could have new endgame PvE. What sets the expansion out is whatever this new system would be. So space could possibly be that system if it was released with other things. And I think that would qualify it as a new major expansion. Other things, if there was something like a pet battle system or a new bounty system, maybe. If there was a world PvP where you could put bounties on other players who were in the world, that would be something I think qualifies. Other crazy things that I don't even know about, like planets that you could take over, whole new player housing, guild housing, that kind of stuff, that could qualify as an expansion, I think, in my opinion. So, I think, in my opinion, that doesn't make sense. I think, or in my opinion. I asked for your opinions on the subject of expansions and what you would like to see, and I also asked what were some of the annoyances that are currently in game that could be maybe solved in an expansion. So, let's take a look at what people had to say. Well, first of all, at CathGirlSWTOR9H, I see a couple people have the 9H in their name. Am I saying it wrong? Is it supposed to be said a certain way? Nanich? Nah, is it like a guild tag or something? Am I not hip with the internet lingo? Sometimes I'm a little slow with that, gotta admit. I didn't know what IMO meant for a long time. IRRC. Didn't know what it meant for a long time. Probably longer than I should for someone of my age. But at CathGirl, anyway, says that she would like a class hollow library where you could watch all the class cutscenes. You know, for those who have been away from the class story for so long, need a refresher, or just want to relive the story that they like, and I completely agree. I think if they release a big story content patch, especially if there's going to be some new class story, and I'll talk about that in a second, I think it would be great if there was some way to go back and, you know, relearn who the certain characters are, who the main characters of your storyline were, what you did, who you killed, who you befriended, who you banged, you know, that kind of stuff. That would be really helpful moving forward in the story, because I'll be honest, like I said earlier, I started my gunslinger on day 1 of pre-launch, got it to 50 by the end of December, early January, and then I don't really remember much of the story since then. I know Skavik takes your ship, and not much smuggling takes place. That's as far as I can remember in the smuggler storyline. So it would be great if there was some kind of way to go back and see all those cutscenes and watch your story unfold. I don't know if it's something that's possible, but it would definitely be really cool to see that if they made a big story patch. And this is something that I would really like to see in my expansion, is the expansion of the class story. And they've hinted at this in several cantinas, in that class story will not be coming back. They didn't hint at this, they said this many times. Class story will not be returning, and even in one instance at, I believe, the Seattle cantina, they asked for applause if they liked the McKeb storyline and used that as evidence that people didn't really care about the class story, or not that they didn't care about the class story, but that they could do good story without class story. And while I think this is true, the McKeb story was done well, the class story is done better. I like the class story idea. It's unique, it's cool, it's fresh, it makes you feel like you stand out in a world of, millions of people. That's why the class story, I think, works much better than the group story. And going forward, I've spoken about this very early on in my podcast, I think episode 2 or 3, I discussed the idea of story and world arcs that really have class flavor. And this was suggested by the person who asked the question at that cantina about how you could do story in the same area, everyone doing the same basic story, the dots are all the same, but how you get there is different, so you connect them all differently. The smuggler is doing smugglery stuff, the Imperial agent is infiltrating, the Jedi Knight is, protecting, the Shadow, the assassin is sneaking in, that kind of stuff. The ability to modify the story depending on your role, it would add the class flavor to that same kind of monotonous storyline. Because let's be honest, I've played McKeb storyline a couple times on different characters, and it's boring after once. The second time going through McKeb, spacebar, 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 kill stuff, spacebar, spacebar. It's not engaging, it's not fun. While I have done all 8 characters, and I watched all 8 cutscenes going through those planets, I took my time and did those class quests well, instead of just rushing through everything. While I was spacebarring most of the world arcs, I was paying attention to the class story, because that keeps you engaged, and I like that. So I would love to see that in an expansion. In terms of where I'd like to go, personally, I'd love to see Kashyyyk. I think that could be an amazingly realized world. Other things I'd like to see from expansion, maybe they could go into other areas, other races that aren't really discussed as well as I'd like. I'd love to go back and talk to the Colicoids. I think they're a really cool race. They have an interesting lore aspect to them. They're really different from other humanoid races. We're dealing with mostly humanoids. And the Terror from Beyond guys, I don't remember, the Gree dudes. I think the Colicoids is kind of like the Gree in that way. They're cool, they're different, and they're not what you expect. So I'd like to see more done with the Colicoids. I would also like to see expansions released with one-off events with them. I know WoW did this a lot with the zombie outbreak. They did this going into Cataclysm. There was the Cataclysm lead-up events. I think that one-off events to launch expansions are good ways to get players back into the game, really get them excited. It really ramps up the hype for it. You get the hype train going early, and then hopefully you ride that wave. So I think one-off events would be cool things to launch new events would be nice to launch new events. Yeah, that's good. To launch new expansions, I think new one-off events would be cool. Sorry, cut me a little slack here. It's late, and I'm tired, and I apologize because I know I'm kind of rambling, going on my own tangents here. And I want to apologize for the sound quality this week. I know it's not as good as it's been in past, and I know it hasn't been good ever, really. I'm not happy about my sound quality. I'm working on getting it fixed. I'm trying different things. That's why the sound is a little bit different every week. Apologize for that, but off the show notes there for a second, let's get back on to the expansion talk. Colicoids, Kashyyyk would be cool. Events would be awesome. At Baffle says something interesting, asked me a very interesting question. Is the speculation on web-based leaderboards? These have been basically confirmed to be coming after patch 2.4 is released, when Season 1 comes out, which will probably be a month, maybe 2 after. Hopefully, we've been told that Season 1 was coming soon many times in the past. How'd that work out? Anyway, also he says, will Bolster survive in patch 2.4 and going forward? I think it will. I think Bolster is a good idea. I've talked about this ad nauseum. Talked about it so much that Bolster is a good idea. It's definitely surviving patch 2.4. MS, and this was another 9H person, at ACDeuce9H, says that the game has too many repeatable dailies, and this is something that I don't understand when people say for SWTOR. I understand it when they say for Mists of Pandaria that was all about dailies, because, let's face it, that was all about dailies. You needed to get your rep up in order to get the best gear, or the best attainable gear, without doing raids. To gear up for raids, you needed to do all your dailies so you can get your reps so you can buy your gear. SWTOR doesn't do that. So daily areas are not a bad thing. Daily areas are there for the player who wants to do them, and that's what they should be for. Players who want to go in every day and bang out some dailies. I like to do that, I'll be honest. I go into game pretty much every day and do the black hole dailies on a character and level up a little bit every day with that character and the black hole. I don't mind doing black hole. It's a nice quick 20 minutes. It's a little neat, a little monotonous, but you know, you put on a video in the background, some music in the background, you do them, and you're done. And giving a player choice in what dailies they want to do, when they want to do them, how they want to do them is important. And I think that SWTOR has done dailies very well, so I don't think the removal of dailies is something we should expect in expansions, and I hope it's not. So, good on that. Dailies are fine. Expansion could be cool. I'm really just rambling on here, and I think I'm going to cut to the wall of crazy.
What? That's impossible even for a computer! It's not impossible. I used to bullseye womp rats in my T16 back home. They're not much bigger than 2 meters.
And this week's Wall of Crazy topic comes directly from Jason Etheridge, aka Tio, of the wonderful Ootinicast. I don't know why I said it that way, but I like it. I'm going to keep saying it like that. Anyway, he says on Twitter, not having the PvE equivalent of bolster and flashpoints. How cool would it be to do flashpoints with friends at any level? And I love this idea. I think it's a great idea, and it should be implemented in game. Not only do I think bolster is okay to have in the endgame flashpoints, hard mode flashpoints, I'm okay if they have bolster. That's just fine. It's a random thing. You're getting grouped with random people, and you're getting baseline level gear. It's really the intro, and it's okay if you are set to a baseline level of stats in order to complete the hard mode flashpoints. If you just got to level 55, you're able to queue for hard mode flashpoints, so why not put in a bolster? Because if you're the tank that's in all 78 level gear, 75 level gear right now, and you're just going in there to bang out your daily because you want to get that daily done for whatever reason, you want to get comms for alts or something like that, then you should have a reasonable expectation that your 4D, your 3D, your 2... Whoa, my god, I am really out of it right now. The 2 DPS and the healer have competent enough gear that they can handle the flashpoints. You're never going to be able to phase out stupidity. That's something that players need to get a grasp of. When I say that bolster is good because it gives players a fighting chance, and you respond with, well, they could just be stupid anyway. Well, anyone could just be stupid, and you're never gonna legislate out the stupidity. So just get that out of your heads. People are stupid, we get it, okay? But giving everyone a baseline level of gear is okay. Allowing players to compete is fine. It's not the same as giving them free top-level gear. They're giving you the gear you need to complete the content, the gear that is required to do okay, not to do great, not to be uber successful, not to top the DPS charts, just to be okay. And yes, bolster has its problems, but everything has its problems, and with work, it should be worked out, and bolster for PvE, I think, is just as defendable as bolster in PvP. Also, the great idea he has is doing flashpoints with friends of any level, and I love this idea. I think it would be great if you can level yourself down even to your friend's level so that you could have a meaningful challenge with whatever flashpoints they're doing. Gear them up in Terrell 5. I love Terrell 5. And if I can downgrade myself and play Terrell 5 with my friends and help them gear up, that would be great. And even if they gave us some kind of carrot, like if they gave you planetary comms for helping out your friends, or some kind of reputation points for being a mentor to players, that would be cool, I think. And it's something I think they've touched on, but not necessarily in a realistic way. I think they've kind of only talked about it in passing. So this would be a really cool system, thanks Tio of the Ootinicast. Yeah. Alright, and that'll do it for the show. As always, if you'd like to contact me, you can send your questions, comments, and concerns to gaticteague.crr@gmail.com or tweet them to @gteague. And I have a special announcement in today's episode. Yes, I do. And that is for the Extra Life charity event. A SWTOR player on Reddit has started a group for the Extra Life charity event, the Tenacious Jawas team, and the goal of this fundraiser is to have gamers come together and marathon video games and raise money for the Extra Life charity, and all the proceeds go to the Children's Miracle Network of hospitals. It's a great cause. It's a really cool idea. It's November 2nd, starting at 9 a.m. I will be streaming live all forms of Star Wars games, not just SWTOR. I don't know if I'll be able to play SWTOR for 25 hours. Maybe I'll try and get a character from 0 to 55 in that time. Maybe I'll sprinkle in some KOTOR, sprinkle in some, I don't know, Rogue Squadron, maybe my favorite Star Wars game. Get an emulator for that, play it. And it goes to charity. If you'd like to donate, I'll put a link to my donation page in the show notes. Anything helps, you know. As with any charity, just any little bit could be the difference, and you never know what small amount could help. A SWTOR player, thanks for bringing it to everyone's attention on the subreddit, and I will definitely highly suggest you donate just something, $1, $10, $20, whatever you'd like to donate, and come watch me play 25 hours of SWTOR. I mean, right now I've been up for about 14 hours, so I'm already going a little loopy here. I'm sure you'd love to see what I'd be like at 20 hours of no sleep, or 24 hours of no sleep. I'll give you a hint. There's going to be a lot of energy drinks, a lot of caffeine, and maybe some alcohol in there too. I don't know if I'll be able to drink alcohol and stay up for 25 hours, so I think I'll keep it to caffeine drinks. But I'm sure you'd love to hear it if you're listening to if you're still listening to this. I commend you, because this has turned into a shit show real fast. But if you're still listening, I'm sure you'd love to see me go bonkers crazy playing Star Wars for 25 hours. So November 2nd, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And I'll see you there. On a more silly note, you know, I always say, if you're new to the game or thinking of subscribing, I provided my refer a friend link in the show notes. So if you'd like a little added incentive to come back to the game, feel free to use it. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Unnamed SWTOR Podcast, because I sure know I have. This is JD, signing off.